So this is our last live with regards to Women's Circle, and our topic is about sex. So today my guest is, her name is Candice West, and she is as an occupation, she is a registered massage therapist, so she has extensive knowledge of the human anatomy. And she has been researching a lot about sex, and so I'm going to invite her today to. Hi, Candice. She's already here. So I'm going to invite her today to just introduce herself and tell us what she's going to talk to us about during our Women's Circle. So again, the Women's Circle starts February 1st. And it's going to go until March 1st. It's going to be every Monday evening from 7 till 8:30. And 5 weeks, 5 different women. So Candice's session would be on just after Valentine's Day. I figured that would be a good day to talk about sex. So it's going to be on February 15th at 7 o'clock on a Monday. So without further ado, let's invite Candice.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Candice. So the light is a little bit. What can you move around, or maybe you have like a? Okay, that's better. Good.
Okay.
Yes. So you guys, here's Candice. So I met her again. Most of these amazing women I meet in my circles of wellness and yoga and coaching and movement. So Candice, I met at the yoga studio. So Candice, just tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, and we can go from there.
Okay, so I guess my life has put me on a path to improve the quality of my life experience. I've had a lot of really crappy experiences in my life, including chronic pain and bad relationships, abusive relationships. So every time that I meet someone, I try to get information from them, or I do my personal research to try to better myself. And then I'm always trying to share that knowledge with other people, a lot of my patients or friends. And I think that at this point in time, it's really important for us to help women in many different ways. And one of them is to improve our knowledge and our sexual health. Most people want to have sex or have better sex or more sex. So I thought, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So actually, like the topic of sex it's something that I spoke to my coach about to bring in my own self-development course, and it was something that people were weary about, and even myself, I was like, I don't know if I should talk about it or not. It's such a taboo subject, but it's something that all of us, all humans do. It's part of our evolution. It's part of our leaving our identity, reproduction. So it's something that we all do, and nowadays it's something that a lot of us do for pleasure. So it's not just the act of sex; it's the act of pleasure. It's the act of intimacy. It has so many different subcategories of it, right?
And I feel like the act of pleasure in terms of sexuality is really, it's imbalanced, and we need to find an equality, especially for the heterosexual woman's sexual experience.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things, but because I think we're heterosexual, that's what we're gonna focus on. There's a lot of different subcategories. So yeah, that's what we're gonna focus on. So since you are in your studies, you've done an extensive amount of study on anatomy, and so just tell us a little bit about the physiology of women and the sexual organs or orgasm. Or I know that not all women can achieve that, but is this something that we could work on?
So 75% of women do not experience an orgasm
Or
due
do
to
not?
penetration, do not, with
Oh, okay.
penetration alone. And that's really what most of us in our society here think of as, being sex, right? It's all about the penetration, the penis and the vagina. So again, we're back
Mhm.
to that heterosexual thing, right? So when it comes to heterosexual sex, 75% of women are not having orgasm with penetration alone. We need to talk more about clitoral stimulation. And even
Mhm.
still, with clitoral stimulation, 15% of women have never had an orgasm. Not don't have an orgasm very often, but have never experienced it. So, say we have 300 people who have watched this video, we've got 45 of you who have never experienced an orgasm. And to me, that's unacceptable. So
Of
let's,
women, of
yeah,
women.
yeah, if women have not experienced it. So let's
Mhm.
get rid of the female orgasm that's being shrouded in mystery, and let's unveil it, discover how an orgasm actually happens and ways to achieve it.
Okay, so this is one of the topics that we're actually going to talk, you're going to talk to us about during the Women's Circle. This is
Yes,
something you're going to cover. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is, when we were teenagers, well, especially for people that come from Middle East or from like a more conservative culture, as a teenager, we're never told what sex is, what you should do, what you should not do, what is safe, what is sacred. Like, it's just don't do it. Wait for marriage. So I think it's something very important for young moms or just moms to talk to their daughters about. And I know that you have teenage daughters.
yeah,
And
I
is
have
this
two.
something that is, yeah, so is that something you can talk to us about? Like, how can we safely um, safely talk to our daughters or to the teenagers? Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So when my kids were very small, I would notice little things and I try to pick up on those things and talk to them about it. So sometimes kids in daycare would be touching themselves or they'd be rubbing against their blanket or their bed. And the daycare providers would be like, yeah, we just ignore it. That's a way for them to comfort themselves because it feels good, right? So pleasure is natural, it's normal, and we should be pleasuring ourselves, in private. So we, teach our children to do this sort of thing in private. And as they get older, they understand that's important. And then as they become to the ages, maybe 8 to 12, there's going to be other questions that they might have, and we can answer them in an age appropriate way.
Hmm.
So if a child is like, say a little boy is scooting around in the bathtub and he's like, hey, look, my penis is growing when I do this. Yes, that's normal, it's healthy, right? And we can talk about these things in an age appropriate way. It doesn't have to be, oh yeah, let's talk about sex right now, because they're not ready for it. And then
Hmm.
as my kids became teenagers, um, they didn't want to bring it up all the time. They still don't. So I might ask them questions, about their different friends, female, male, because I don't know what's going on in their heads. And I don't know if they're feeling asexual, heterosexual, bisexual, if, they're feeling like they maybe a lesbian or whatever's going on. So I'm asking them
Hmm.
questions about their friend, how they feel about that friend, what do they do with that friend. And sometimes they get uncomfortable and sometimes I get uncomfortable. So when
Yeah.
we're looking eye to eye, it can be really unsettling for one or both. And I've discovered that sitting side by side, so maybe the TV is on or it's on pause or we're in the car, that's a great time to bring up these questions because it's easier for them to open up when I'm not staring them in the eyes and asking
Hmm.
them questions. I'm not quizzing them on things, so it makes it easier to talk about with your teenagers when you're side by side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just again, this the topic of sex is such taboo that talking about it just makes you uncomfortable, but it's very, very important to talk about it because if you don't talk about something, it's just gets ignored.
Yes.
So
Brushed up.
yeah,
And
then
I find also I've practiced talking about sexuality by talking to my elders. So I've talked
Mhm,
to my mom and I've talked to my grandmother and I've talked to some of my patients who are older than me. So
mhm,
if they've gone through menopause, let me learn something from you so I know what to expect about my sexual health and my sexual life when I'm going through menopause and after menopause, because
yeah,
we haven't really talked about it because our life expectancy used to be so short. We used to die around 40. So now that we're living, till 80, 90, 100 years old, we need to also talk about sexuality in menopause and after menopause because we
mhm,
do have a sex life during and after those
yeah.
hormonal stages as well.
So you see, yeah, it's like it's so many age groups and just like different ways of talking to and understanding this topic that's um, hidden, but so out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, okay, so again, thank you so much, Candice. This just was a snippet of what we're going to talk about in our women's circle, and this is actually the first time that I thought this is such an important topic that we need to just talk about, because again, taboos are something that if we don't talk about it, it gets ignored, and so many people can suffer from something we don't talk about and we make taboo. So
Absolutely.
again, it's very important. So Candice's talk is going to be on Monday, February 15th, which is right after Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I'm going to talk about talking to our kids and talking to our elders, talking about the female orgasm, talking about the actual organs involved, different sensual areas, the physiology of how to have an orgasm, how it happens, ways to have an orgasm for those who have never had the pleasure, and
mhm,
ways to improve that orgasm if you're already having wonderful orgasms.
mhm. And you guys, so there's, I wanted to just introduce this lady just now that we are on live. Uh, Esther Perel, she talks about, if you want to Google her, she talks about relationships, and that can maybe get you more excited about our talk. Not that our talk about sex is not exciting, but she's one of the ladies that I've taken the courses with, and I get my ideas from. So she's a psychotherapist, and she's amazing. And Candice also knows her, watches her stuff. So again, you guys, 5 weeks, 5 Monday nights, 5 different women. And all of these women are amazing. They have something to talk about. They have something to share. And it's a place for us to be heard and to ask questions and to hear other women out. So it's a community online since we can't get together. This is what we're doing. We're doing this online. So again, thank you, Candice.
Thanks
I'm
for
so excited. Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you and have you. So you guys, if you have any questions beforehand, send those questions over so I can forward them to Candice before the session. And we have about an hour and a half. So we're gonna do a bit of meditation, and then we're gonna have Candice do her talk, and then Q&A. If there's any time left, we'll do a little bit of movement that has to do with sex. All right, thank you guys. Have an amazing day and be blessed. Thank you, Candice.
Bye.
Bye now.